Hi, I am Kedar Ahmed, and I'm an RPTV reporter. The Regent Park Social Development Plan, also known as the SDP, is a community-wide initiative aimed at fostering unity and togetherness among all the different residents and stakeholder groups in the community. The Social Development Plan is built around 4 areas of priorities of the SDP. Each priority area is represented by a different committee. The SDP committees are safety, communications, employment and economic development, and community building. The goal of the community building working table of the SDP is to create and organize equitable spaces, events, and groups that bring residents together and build bridges, particularly between market and TCH residents. In this month's meeting, the group discussed about the list of organizations operating in Regent Park, the progress report for the Report Back event, and more. Let's go and watch this month's meeting.
Okay, welcome to our May 2nd Community Building Working Group. My name is Walid Kogali Ali, and I'm going, just before we pass it on to our the rest of the speakers, I just want to remind folks that we have a link to the agenda in the chat. Just please click on that link, agenda link. And Joel, do you mind quickly just sharing that on the screen as well?
So is Tahida? Who's facilitating?
Yeah, and Tahida is going to be facilitating. So Tahida, welcome.
Yes, sir. I'm just trying for today.
Good.
Yeah.
Go Tahida.
Okay.
The floor is with you. Now have the floor.
Thank you, Walid, and hi everyone. You probably know me. I'm Tahida Chaudhary. I'm the member of this community building working group, and today actually big responsibility upon me without having any preparation, and also check-in question. I don't know whether we have set any check-in question, but I can just let you request to welcome you. I welcome all of you here, and also if you just let you introduce, and also I think we can have for about check-in question. May actually has so many events, like it is Asian Heritage Month, it is Jewish Heritage Month, also Newcomer Day. So I'm thinking if you introduce yourself and just say 1 or 2 words about some of the diversity or unique things from your own origin. Like for me, I am from Asia. So I can just say that diversity of Asia, that's really attracts me. So something like that, if you feel it is okay with you.
So it's a really good idea. I can quickly start off. My name is Walid Kogali Ali, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the Community Building Working Group. I'd like to pass it on to Dini. Dini will go next.
Hi, I'm Dini Peters. I am, excuse me, I am a community development worker with Regent Park Community Health Center. Something unique, diverse about my origins. I am Wendot, Indigenous on my mother's side, and my father's family came through the Underground Railroad from West Virginia.
Great.
With Miss Harriet Tubman.
Thank you, Dini.
And I'll pass to Sarah Jane.
Hi, I'm Sarah Jane Grow. The diversity of my origins, I mean, I go way back American on both sides. That isn't very diverse, but that's what it is. And Jewish on both sides. Ibrahim.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ibrahim. I'm from Somalia, East Africa. I pass it to Joe.
My name's Joel Clausen. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Community Building Working Group. I am of Russian Mennonite background, Manitoba Mennonite background, and my ancestors came and settled on the prairies in the 1870s. and they settled on land that was indigenous land that had recently before then been a thriving place of the buffalo hunt. And it was at a time that the buffalo herds were dying. So they were part of that white European takeover of the land. I will pass it to Marshida. Maybe not. Maybe I'll pass it to Gail. Maybe not there either. Oh, there you are.
Oh, hi, Joel. Hi, I'm Gail. I am one of the co-chairs of Employment and Economic Development. In terms of my heritage, I would say we are from the Bright of Biafra, the Gold Coast, the Bright of Benin. I think most of the slaves in Barbados were from the Bight of Biafra. Our indigenous heritage seems to come from a tribe out of Cuba called the Arawaks. And I will pass that to well, hey, that co-chair of mine, Ismail. He's in his office.
Apologies, I was just having lunch. My name is Ismail Afra. I am the Access to Recreation Community Coordinator, and my heritage and background is East Africa, Somalia, and yeah, thank you for having me.
I have to pass it to Ishmael, to someone else.
I will pass it to Sarah Jane.
Well, I went.
Yeah,
Who else is left?
Thank you anyway.
thank you, Sharazin. I think there is a phone number. Is it Michael? I'm not sure.
Mershida hasn't gone yet. And Michael hasn't gone yet.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Michael.
Hey, this is Michael Rosenberg. Well, I mean, in one sense, I have a fairly common roots in Eastern Europe, but the locations where my immediate family were born was a little bit less common. My mother was actually born in Jerusalem, and I was born in London, England.
Thank you, Michael. Mushida, I think everyone are covered, right? Is there anyone left? Should I go to the next item?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Tohida.
Thank you, everyone, for the little introduction. Now there's in the agenda, it's the review of the agenda and notes from previous meeting. So Joel, is there notes from the previous meeting? You can share that with us. And the agenda is here. If you have anything, anyone have anything to change or add, you can now tell it. Joel, can you please scroll down a little bit so that we can...
Sorry, say that. I just was moving around, Tahita, because people are coming in and out of the room. So I was just organizing things a little.
Okay. Yeah, now we are actually reviewing the agenda and as well the notes from the previous meeting. I don't know if you have those notes, so you can just share with us.
Okay.
And agenda is already on the screen. So just if you scroll down a little bit, so it will be visible to everyone, or I can read.
Do you want me, sorry, are you asking me? I'm getting the notes right now.
Okay. So should I go through the agenda?
Sure. Or do you want me to share screen?
Yeah, yeah. No,
that's
you
what
don't
you're
need
asking.
to screen. It's already on my screen, so I can just share from there.
Okay.
So land acknowledgement already we have done. Then welcome and introductions is done. Check-in question already done. Now we are actually reviewing the agenda. So next item in the agenda is Recreation Advisory Group. There will be, I think, presentation from Ishmael. Then progress report. We all know that May 10 will be the progress report, and there will be some information sharing. Working group contributes to slideshows like stories, photos, ask for volunteers to present, ask for volunteers to progress report event, set up, take down registration. Our next item in the agenda will be review of list organizations operating in Regent Park, request for input. Next item will be report back on rezoning application meeting, question and answer. And then at 7:25, that will be our last topic, religious days. What reflections especially related to community building do you have on the religious celebration of the past month? Then it will be closing. But if anyone would like to add something or change something, you can share that now. Are you okay with the agenda?
Can I get in something about evaluation?
Yes.
Sure. Maybe put that in the end on the other business. I think we're going to finish early.
So Walid will put that at the end?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Joel, now you can share the notes from the previous meeting. I think we are okay with this agenda, so we can go for the notes.
Okay. I've put it in the chat, but you want me to share screen? Is that what you're saying, Tahita?
That would be nice.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just getting there. Can you see them now? You want me to make it bigger?
No, that's fine.
That's the agenda, well, Joel, that's the agenda.
No, it's the note. It has the agenda in it, but it's the notes.
Okay.
Here they are. You want? How do you want to do this? Do you want just me to go scroll down slowly, or?
I think it's better if you make a little bit bigger. I don't feel that we can, see it properly.
Let me try to do that. Bigger? Is that okay, or is it too big?
It's okay for me, but I don't know what's about others.
Anybody, is that too small?
It's fine.
Okay.
So here we are.
Would you scroll back up, Joel? Did we decide anything about artificial intelligence? Up in the top paragraph?
We don't have it in the notes there.
We haven't made a decision then. No. So when we should make that decision?
What are these notes? I've suddenly heard artificial intelligence all sudden.
Yes, you hear?
I wasn't expecting to hear that in this meeting. What's going on? Hello?
Walid, can you please explain this artificial intelligence? Last time, actually, you had shared something about it.
I don't know. I just heard somebody say artificial intelligence, which I wasn't expecting in this meeting. What are these notes about?
So I can explain this, Tahita. I think it was the first time I had seen it last time, but apparently there's an otter in the meeting, and an otter is something that automatically takes notes. And it's an artificial intelligence device or mechanism. And so the notes say that we discussed whether we should allow this in future meetings with known identity, but we didn't. It looks like we didn't come to a decision on that.
So should we put it on the business for next month or what?
You want to have? Do you want to talk about this now, folks, or do you want to make a decision next month?
Sorry, Jen, I think that's a good idea. So we can reach out to the folks who send the orders to see if they want us to, if they want to weigh in. Position.
Walid, your audio is
We
not
had
actually.
Alfred and then surrender the meetings, the no temple.
You're breaking up, Waleed.
Well, with Soraya, we always know because it says Soraya, but with Alfred, we're not quite sure. Is there a way to communicate with these otters? I know nothing about AI.
Me too. I don't have actually any idea about the artificial intelligence. But should we continue discuss this issue today or next meeting?
Gail's hands up.
Yeah, I think we're getting deep with the discussion. It's an app that's within Zoom. So maybe the discussion is, well, maybe first what you want to do is just get some learnings on it, but it is an app. It's so whoever is using their Zoom, they probably enable that app so that if they're away from the desk or that they want the notes, the transcript for themselves, because not every group maybe has the transcript or has it available. And I think that's one of the challenges that people are experiencing with the 4 working groups is that we're all doing different things. So if I need the transcript, what is the process for me to get that? And if there's no process, maybe I'm using the Otter so I can get the transcript for myself.
Thanks, Gail, for sharing that. And Walid actually wrote that can we check with those, they send their order, and we can discuss it next week or next meeting before we make a decision.
Yeah, but you can't stop someone from using their Otter. It's part of the app. So I think we have to get some education on the Otter and what is it that you're trying to solve for? Do you think there's a security risk or is there something else? I think you have to identify that and to figure out where you'd like to go with this. How are you going to exclude people? That borders on exclusion.
Hello?
Yes, Michael.
Certainly the importance of artificial intelligence is much more than just whether somebody happens to have something on their computer and decides to use it. So just the fact that we're talking about it all, I mean, if everybody really felt like it doesn't matter and somebody just using their own software and who cares, then we wouldn't even be talking about it. So, I mean, I'm just glad that at least people are taking notice of these things. But yeah, we can continue to discuss it next time.
Thank you, Michael. Gail, your hands up. Would you like to say anything? Can we move to our rolling notes? Joel?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I couldn't see anybody, so I just stopped sharing while we were discussing that.
I think we can discuss about the artificial intelligence in our next meeting. And I think it would be better if we have some information or just, about these things, because even I don't know what it is. So that could be great.
So who's going to find out what it is?
Gail just told us what it is.
What did you say, Dina?
I'm not sure what information you'd be looking for other than the obvious. I mean, I can tell you all kinds of things about artificial intelligence in general, but I mean, the thing you're talking about itself, if it like basically listens to sound and turns it into words, then I mean, that's all the description you're going to get about it. Beyond that, I can tell you probably how it works, but or I can tell you more about artificial intelligence, but the specific program you're talking about, I don't know how much more of an explanation you can get.
Well, I don't feel comfortable with it because I don't know what it is.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, we could talk about like why people might not feel comfortable with it. I could come up with a variety of possible reasons, but that's interesting to hear that people don't feel comfortable with it. But as far as like direct information about it. I mean, isn't the transcript you're using normally, isn't that also generated in the same way? But I don't know. I mean, we can talk about, we can talk about this next time.
Okay, thank you, Michael and Gail. Yes, we can talk about it in our next meeting. So we can just now go through the rolling notes from the last meeting.
I'm just rolling through it slowly, folks. I'm not sure. Like this is a lot of detail here, just about the use of the spectrum at the third floor on the spectrum. I don't know if we need to really read it through. We had a discussion about the connecting to the printer, and there's the way to do that is on the it's on the wall. It's described on the wall. And we had a discussion about how to pay for it. When we have an administrative coordinator again, I think we'll get that clear.
Fareed, is the lockbox up?
I don't know if is Fareed here?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here. No, the lockbox is not up. I'm trying to get that up soon. I'll let you guys know.
Okay. I don't have the minutes from the last meeting either, just reminding you.
So now we're to the Mental Health Matters presentation. Sunday in the Park Committee Evaluation Champions presentation on the Black History Month planning. Okay. That's it. Anything else, Tahita?
Thank you, Joel, for sharing these notes with us. If we are okay with these notes, then we can move to our next agenda item. So all the notes are okay, right? We don't need to any change. Just one of the decision that about that artificial intelligence we will just discuss next week.
I'll put that in the notes.
Okay, thank you. So now I think there is it a presentation? I'm not sure because I'm doing this facilitation without any preparation. So Recreation Advisory Group, I think Ishmael have something to share with us. Ishmael, I just hand it over to you.
Thank you. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'm here on behalf of the Access to Recreation Group, which is a grassroots group that's made out of mothers and supported by the Young Street Mission as well as Fred Victor. And the group has been working with improving recreational access to the facilities that are located here in Regent Park, both the community center, aquatic center, and the athletic ground. So based off of our work, our vision is creating equitable access for local residents to local recreation programs, starting from from Regent Park. And our mission is to activate the community so that they're empowered, build relationships with decision makers so that we can change policies and regulations. And lastly, create new opportunities for youth, seniors, and families to access recreation in their community. The problem that we've been working to solve for has always been how do we create more access to recreational programming? Currently, we're working on 3 priority areas. One of them is a pilot program that we have with the 2 schools, where children in the schools go as part of their educational curriculum to the aquatic center, and they learn how to swim. Another priority for us is creating employment pathways for youth to work with the city, with Parks Forestry and Recreation. And we're also working on creating priority registration for programs that are very competitive to get in. One of our other areas as well we've been trying to work on is the creation of an advisory council in which community members are able to provide feedback to the city in terms of programs, in terms of experiences of community members in using the facilities. And we've been having conversation with the city around the establishment of that council. I believe community building working group had a group of people who've been working on this, a task group that's been trying to move the conversation to make sure that we have this advisory. In that effort, access to recreation has been having conversations with the city around having this advisory committee happen. So I'm happy to report that the city of Toronto will be having a community consultation happen on May 9th from 7 p.m. to 8:30 at the Regent Park Community Center. And they would be consulting with Regent Park residents on the programs and services that they have, as well as the creation of an advisory council. In that meeting, there'll be several community meetings that will happen with different populations. For instance, those who use the facilities, youth, but the May 9th is an open general community consultation, and they will be presenting to the community 3 options for the advisory group. The first option is a general community-wide sessions that will happen quarterly, and so that's the first option. The second option is a sort of a semi-formal, where there will be a committee who will be selected to advise Parks, Forestry, and Recreation. And then the last one is a super formal process where members are elected in a general meeting from community. So these options will be presented to the community, and Parks, Forestry, and Recreation will seek feedback in what are the preferred options among those 3. And there'll be a whole facilitation where they go through the benefits of one option over the other. But they will also be getting your feedback around existing programs and permits and facility uses. So there used to be a group in community building that was advocating for the creation of this advisory. I've set out communications with that group. We're holding a strategy meeting tomorrow. From 4 to 5 to talk about, from a community building perspective, how do we continue to get the sort of advisory we want. I've sent email communications to the chairs of community building, and I believe they've sent you an email around the invitation. If you're interested in coming to that meeting to strategize for the May 9th meeting, please let me know. Send Joel or the chairs that information, or you can send me that you're interested in attending, and I will send you the invitation. I will put my email in the chat if you are interested in attending the strategy session. And I hope all of you would be able to attend the May 9th consultation, because that is when they want to hear from community. If all things are done, we expect to see an advisory next steps, what do you call it, the end of the year. As I said before, they will be holding 3 to 4 consultations with different population groups. And I hope community building will show up and support this effort to make the programs and facilities in the neighborhood more accessible by creating this committee. That's my presentation. The floor is open for any question. And if you want to get into the details of this, please join me tomorrow at 4 to 5 to talk about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishmael. So if anyone have any questions, ask Ishmael. There is hands up from Kevin.
Yeah,
yes,
go ahead.
Trying to understand a few things. Which is this group that started this project, the last, I guess, advisory group that you're speaking about, that you're having a conversation with?
Repeat the question, Kevin.
You're having a conversation with a group, you said, to speak about the advisory group. I guess one that you said started it last time.
Yes. So what had happened was, I believe Mary Henkelman had was leading a group of residents. I believe, I'm sure you were included in that, and others who were trying to convince the Parks, Forestry, and Recreation to start an advisory body. Those conversations were happening. However, because of some challenges, that group couldn't continue. So Access to Recreation has been continuing to dialogue with the city around the creation of an advisory body. They have agreed to hold community sessions to get feedback from the community in terms of how that would look, and they will present 3 options. So I'm inviting those residents who were previously interested in this to a strategy meeting tomorrow, 4 to 5, to think about how we can continue those efforts with the city.
Now, my other question, I guess, towards that is, who exactly has given you guys the opportunity to start this advisory committee? Just because the issue before was, and sorry, I guess the other clarification is this through the SDP network, Access to Recreation, or is this just a kind of like who is this starting and who is that conversation? Because you're saying it's Access to Recreation, but there was an issue that came out before, which is why the advisory didn't continue, which was the reason that we didn't continue, right? And that was because of what the city had mentioned, or sorry, Lucky and Parks, Forest and Recreation had mentioned, in terms of how can I say it? The real Regent Park, I think it's what they said. It doesn't include everybody.
So I believe community building was always interested in the creation of an advisory body. Access to Recreation, as a member of the community building working group, was also part of those conversations. So when Mary Henkelman was leading that task group that was meeting with the city, there was not a lot of headway that was made. And based off of that, there was a resignation. And then the efforts was continued by Access to Recreation to still continue to convince the city to have an advisory body. And the city has always said we need to do broader community consultation. It's not enough that community building or the SDP network or access to recreation have an interest in this. They want to do a much more broader consultation with the community. So they've created sort of a 3-step process where they want to first consult the whole community, then do another event where they will consult specific populations that are using the facility, and then a third one with youth. And then after which they will gather all that feedback, and then based on those consultations, if the community and those consultations give a direction of creating an advisory body and the type, then they would move forward with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other questions or comments? Oh, Ishmael, in the chat box, there is a question about tomorrow's meeting. Will this meeting in online and the time?
Yeah, so it's online. I'm gonna put the link on the chat. So it's online, and here is the meeting link, 4 to 5 tomorrow.
And you send the link out, Ishmael, I have trouble recovering it from the chat.
Yeah, so Sarah Jane, because I have your email, I can just send it to you directly. But for others, please, I believe Joel has sent it through the community building listserv. Joel and community building chairs, you able to send that out again?
I didn't get the link, that's all.
Okay, so Sarah Jane, I've just sent you the link.
Thank you.
Dini, you next. Your hand.
Yeah, I won't be attending these consultations, but I just wanted to share, you know, if values are meeting with the city about this is I'd like people to remember that the reason why the aquatic center, the community center, the athletic grounds, they were built in the early phases of redevelopment was so that we would have what they considered and called common ground spaces. It was done intentionally that these would not, that they wouldn't build PAL housing first, that they would bring these recreational facilities in as early as possible. And the reason for that was because we wanted to have spaces where Toronto community housing residents and private market residents would have opportunities to meet one another and build relationships. So the challenge that happened where, you know, a lot of Toronto community housing residents in the early phases when they built these places said they couldn't get in, completely defeated the reason for why they were built out in the early phases. And that little piece of history there, the city needs to remember, you know, why these facilities and access to these facilities for residents of Regent Park, why this is important to the revitalization of Regent Park. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Jeannie. We'll make sure to mention that.
Thank you all. And there is a comment from Firdosa. She asked all residents in Regent Park to attend May 9th at 7 p.m. to 8:30. Okay, so if there will be no more discussion on this, presentation of Ishmael, can we proceed to our next topic?
Yes.
Thank you. So Joel, I think our next topic is about progress report, SDP progress report that will be due on May 10th. So there is some discussion. I think it will be for everyone here, working group contribution to slideshow, like stories, photos, ask for volunteers to present, ask for volunteers for progress report event, like setup, takedown, and registration. Joel, if you just make some more information here, it would be great for me.
Sorry, I'm just doing a bunch of stuff, so I'm a little bit slow with everything. I gotta go from note-taking to speaking. So, but yeah, Tawhida, if you could help me
Sure.
just by saying the different, you just read through it, but if you could just sort of work through it again slowly as I go through it.
Sure.
Waleed, and Rabia, if you want to contribute to this as well, please do.
Yeah.
So we're having a progress report meeting on the SDP next week, Wednesday on May 10th, which everybody is welcome to join. It'll go from 5 to 8 p.m. There'll be dinner from 5 to 6. The meeting itself will be from 6 to 8. And there'll be reports from the different working groups, different parts of the work. So we've made a written report on some of the work of our group, but we'd like to do a slideshow as well to present, and would love to have people give contributions to that, including possibly giving, if you're open to doing an interview, if you want to just do something verbally, or just contribute, or if you have photos you'd like to share or stories. So is there anybody who would like to work with us on preparing that presentation? That's the first part of the question.
I'm wondering, was there any pictures or photos taken from the Sunday in the Park or the?
Yeah, we'll have some photos
celebration?
from that.
Yeah.
So the report has already been done, so we're just working on the slide presentation, right, Joel?
So what was the first part of what you said?
I think the report has already been done from
Yeah.
community building working group, so we just need to create our slides for presentation.
Right, that there could be, as part of that, there could be, if somebody wants to share a story or some kind of testimonial, that would definitely be a good contribution.
Joel, sorry, can I speak?
Yeah. Or it's
shared some pictures in the park and last progress meeting. Progress report meeting. I have shared in a Google Drive with Denise before. I don't know if you have access to it. Hello?
Shida? Yeah.
So I have shared with Denise last time those pictures. Let me know if you don't have access. I can maybe send you some pictures.
okay, great. I think maybe we do, Murshida. I'm not sure, maybe but we can include them in the slideshow, I think.
So anyone actually, I can help with the slideshow, Joel. Just send me the report and then I'll just share it with you and Walid and Rabia if you need to change anything.
Okay. Great.
Thank you so much. And I'll add pictures. If I find pictures, I'll add them.
Walid?
I said I'm looking forward to working with you, Tawhida. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's why I did it. I thought that might be more volume.
And there is actually some other works to be done, like some volunteers to present and, like setup, takedown, and registration. If anyone from this group are interested to join, they are most welcome. Joel, do we need volunteer from outside this group or from this group?
Well, for now, from this group.
Okay.
Yeah, and as Waleed has put in the chat as well, if anybody would like to present together with us, that would also be great. So we might shoulder tap you also during the week, folks, to see if you want to
volunteer. Yeah, we need help with setup. We need help with setup. It's our progress.
That's the last thing. Yeah, that's the last part.
Yeah. need to do that.
Yeah, so if we could have people who could come, especially afterwards for cleanup, could stay, or I should say, could stay for cleanup, as well as coming, if anybody could come before for setup, that would also be helpful. There'll be, after an event like that, a number of things to do for both. So if anybody's available for that, please let us know. If anybody want to put their hand up now, that would be great, or you can contact us later.
So we can,
Oh, I just remembered something.
yes, Denny.
I think if I'm correct, Waleed's still here, right? Yeah. There's going to be a photo booth, right? And the idea was that the photo booth would be available from 4 to 5 for people who are connected to the SDP.
4
And
to
then,
6, Dini.
pardon?
4 to 6.
Yeah, but the idea was because the flyers went out to let people know that the progress report that the event is from 5 to 8, right? So the idea was if people who are SDP associated wanted to do their pictures at the photo booth, that they could attend the photo booth between 4 and 5. And then the wider general resident group that comes in could do theirs from 5 to 6.
Yes, Murshida.
Am I correct that that was the plan?
I am not sure if anyone know about that, because in the flyers, nothing has been written.
The flyer's been like edited and it's
Okay.
already sent out. That's the one I've been posting. And there was another flyer's been printed by Donna's.
Mhm.
The photo booth will be happening 4 to 6. And
Okay,
also been posted. And then even with the TCHC, there's a flyers went out saying that there's a photo booth will be happening 4 to 6. And there's a trauma.
okay, so you changed the flyer.
Yes, it's changed. And then there's another set of print was done. And it's also been posted in along the Cole Street and some of the area because we already posted.
Mhm.
I will just volunteer.
Is somebody bringing it to the market residents?
Yeah, I personally brought it to the there's a one from the what do you call that?
At the
The Chatwell. I did personally. I went and gave to them. I said, hey, this is issue. People's not understanding, and I actually went and gave it to them. She said she's gonna post it in a couple of areas, but I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay.
Okay, just find out from the front desk, and then can you tell her to repost it? Yeah, please. It went and gave it to her.
Okay. Who did you speak to?
The front end. There was a registration lady in the front end.
Oh, she's just a receptionist.
Receptionist, yes, that's the one.
Okay.
Okay. If anybody I can email, just do the forward the email so I can forward the email to them.
Okay.
Or Sarah Jen, you want me to send a flyer to you?
Yes, please.
Sure, I can do that. I'll do that right now.
Rashida, did you get the list of the property managers from Marlene?
No, I asked Pavitra if she can able to share with them because Pavitra last time when I asked her, she said she can share with them.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. But I don't have properties manager emails. The only the private market I do is the one Evolve and the Chartwell. That's the only building I have access to it. And their managements are pretty easy, and then they always take the flyers. Anybody else, I'm not that.
Mhm.
I don't have connection with. But if you guys want me to come and give it to you guys, well, I only have a few flyers left anyway. But
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to send a copy.
Yeah,
On the.
no, I'm good.
I didn't see that posted, so send it to me and I'll post it.
Yes, I'm sending it to you right now.
Did the new poster,
Yep.
Murshida?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Who is speaking actually?
Also, what's his name? The STP coordinator, he sent out the flyers, but please feel free to send out, and I'll send this one to Joe and everybody, so you guys can send it among anybody you guys know. It's a new one. I don't know if you guys got it or not. I'll resend it again.
Okay.
Murshida, the photo booth is included in this new flyer?
Yeah, it is there from 4 to 6 if you join the photo booth.
Okay, okay. Because in the original flyer, it was not there, right?
No, it wasn't there. The first one,
Yeah.
it was there. And then he just told me last week if I could able to add it. So that's when I added. If you see in that red spot, it's there.
Thank you, Murshida.
No problem.
Is Adonis coming tonight, Mashida?
For this meeting? I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Oh, because there's the feedback from the group we had, but if he's not coming, then we're not discussing it tonight, I guess.
Maybe you could. He's probably gonna come to the other meeting though.
Okay.
On Thursday.
Yeah, because he doesn't attend this group.
Yeah, he doesn't normally attend this meeting.
No, I know, but it says on the agenda that that we're talking about the feedback from our exercise and finding the grant exercise. So, any notice do we have a notice? We have a Thursday meeting about the funding grant, Dini?
I think Rashida was referring to the planning committee.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, this is a subgroup of the planning committee, but it's on the agenda of this meeting. So anyway, never mind.
Which meeting were you referring to as the subgroup of the planning committee?
Yeah. The grant.
Which one?
The grants committee, the one that we were trying to get grants and we were told now only the decisions will be made only by managers. I can't remember what they called them. That only professional active professionals will be making decisions, not us. That was the last statement. And I was wondering when that was going to be discussed.
Yeah, it's not. I don't see it on our agenda tonight, Sarah Jane.
I saw.
Yeah, I don't remember anything that definitive being stated.
Oh, it was that definitive.
No, because I see review of the list of organizations operating in Regent Park, a report back on rezoning application meeting.
That's it. That's the one.
Okay. On the rezoning.
Yeah, that's the rezoning of applications for grants, wasn't it? No. Well, maybe not. I thought that was the subcommittee, the funding subcommittee, but no, Dini, no.
No.
Okay.
Michael, would you like to share something?
Well, I mean, the rezoning and the funding committee are definitely two different things, but I'm not sure which is relevant to what we're talking about right now.
Okay. All right, never mind. Just I'll message the Donis about it.
Okay, so about our actually report back on May 10th, we already have discussed. So we will work together like contribution to the slideshow. And if you have stories and photos, you are most welcome to share those things. And also we are asking for volunteers during the day of the event. So you can just reach out to Joel, Walid, or Rabia, if you would like to be contribute during that day. Now I am just moving to the next item, and that is review of list of organization operating in Regent Park. So I'm not sure, Joel, do we have any list right now?
This is Walid's item.
Okay. Yeah, so I request Walid just to, move to this agenda item.
We did a space needs report that identified 29 organizations that required space. I think it's important for us to start naming new organizations that are not part of the space needs report so that we could check in with regards to their needs. As the transfer zoning will be considered by city council in the near future this year. So I'm just wondering which other organizations you might have heard of. I could try to share the space. Does everyone have a link to the space needs report? Any chance? I'll share that link on the chat. And I think what we can do just to save time is if there's any new groups, please let us know about it. Email us. I'll put the email address on our chat as well.
Hello?
Yes, Michael.
I guess a list of organizations could come in different flavors. Are you primarily concerned about organizations that are looking for space? I mean, I also just have a general list of organizations that were not asked whether they were looking for space or not. So I'm not sure what your intention is right now with regards to this list. But I guess I should also mention that can I just add one more point here? I should also mention that if it is about space, then I have also been asked what organizations are supporting the creation of an association of community centers. So we could also try to investigate that question and find out what the support is. But if you could also specify why you are asking for this list, and is it primarily about space or some other reason for asking for a list of organizations?
It's an excellent suggestion, Michael. Yeah, I think the more organizations we identify that operate in Regent Park, the better. We just want to update the list of information that we have as part of the community building working group.
Okay. I have some organizations, but they probably would already be on your list, but you can look at that at some point and see if there's any differences. But I do also think the relationship to the space is also an important aspect here. And if anybody does want to either just say they do support an AOCC, Association of Community Centers, that's the center like the 519 or Ralph Horton, to be in phases 4 and 5. So if you want to let me know about that, or if you want to have any further discussions about it, you can contact me. Because in addition to the general request, I think there's also a need for a specific request with respect to the AOCC support.
Thank you, Michael. There are some hands up. So first, Murshida, Dini, and Gail. Murshida, is it your old hands up?
I think that's my old hand, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So Dini, you can go.
It was just a general question in relation to the group that recently was able to get space. Was that one of the groups that was in the community building goals, and we had done some goals and objectives or some priorities, and there were some groups I think that were looking for space that hadn't received it or weren't getting the attention and weren't getting the space. And I'm just wondering if the group that recently got the space was one of those groups, because if so, that would be something that, you know, would be important to community building for them to know that they actually achieved that.
Thanks, Denny. Now, Gail, you can go now.
Yeah, there is a group, Marshida, I believe, is part of that group, and they've also kind of put together a listing of groups. So I think being collaborative is important as well, so we don't work in silos.
Oh, is it, you're talking about women's group, Tini? I mean, Gail?
Yeah, I saw your report coming out last night.
Oh, yes. That was part, some of them done. There's still a little bit more needs to be done. And then I think after that, we're going to be doing the community-wide meeting for everybody, like after we find the final.
Thank you, Murshida. Walid already shared space needs report in the chat box. So if anyone needs, you can just look on that. And there is also some comments in the chat box, like, let me check. Okay. It's from Ayan Amin. She mentioned that Vanessa is looking for a space for image counseling. And then even small space to do one-to-one counseling will help. Please contact me if you know any available community space. And then Walid actually shared the space needs report. Joel, do you have anything to share here?
You're asking me,
Yes,
Zahida?
Joel. Yeah.
Not at the moment. I'm just nothing additional.
Okay.
I'm just trying to keep up with the notes.
Okay. Then we can go for the next.
Tahita, you're muted.
Yeah, our next item on the agenda is report back on rezoning application meeting. It is a question answer session. So I think I just opened the floor. So if you have any question or any information on that, just share with us. If anyone have any information about that.
Hello.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that they made a big deal out of the fact that they increased the amount of community space, but they didn't. It's even the so-called increase is the same amount that they told us about a year ago. We were already told that we'd get an extra 6,000 square feet. They never, but the other numbers that were discussed that were even higher than that never materialized. So they actually haven't increased the space in a year.
So Michael, you attended the consultation meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, so if anyone else attended the consultation meeting?
And most of us.
Dini, do you have anything to share with us?
Not really.
Okay. So just share some of your thoughts. Who actually attended the meeting or consultation meeting? If you share your thoughts about that, like me, Michael already shared something, that would be great for us.
Okay, well, I didn't get a question through. I put a question in the chat at 6:45. I asked at 7:30 why my question hadn't been asked, and others that came in after me were. I also put my hand up, and I never got a question through. Why that is important is one of the questions that we had a recent meeting, the Community Benefit Coalition met with Catherine, one of the city planners, and we had asked, one of the requests that we've made is for a Regent Park specific consultation session for Regent Park residents specifically. And when that request was made, I said one of the reasons why is because it's really hard to compete with people from across the city to try and get your questions asked. And so it was interesting that I raised that as a concern and that my question wasn't asked or answered. So, and my question was in regards to additional RGI. I wanted to know what Toronto Community Housing has done to communicate with the senior levels of government around the additional RGI. And if they hadn't yet really moved on that, my question was, how can the community help to support TCHC and the city to get the attention of the federal and provincial government to support additional RGI, but I never got my question through.
I don't know actually. What should I say here?
Nothing. There's nothing
Yeah,
you
nothing.
can say.
Yeah, because it's really, you have questions, but it didn't go through. Yeah, that's
yeah.
really...
I'll just look for other opportunities to, keep advocating for additional RGI.
So
Federal, though, that's federal, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Federal and provincial.
Who else actually was in the meeting? We just would like to know about your thoughts, as Danny already mentioned. So anyone else was in the meeting?
Oh, yes, the request that was made around the consultation, another consultation, is for an in-person.
Okay. So Walid, you would like to share something?
What's the in-person consultation?
We're asking for that.
Who's the we now?
Community Benefit Coalition.
Oh, okay. We've gone through a lot of things, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
Walid, would you like to go next? You wrote down in the chat.
Yes. Does everyone remember the definition of affordable housing they used? So they said for phases 1, 5, it's not committed for income-based definition. It could be a market-based definition. If they use the OPA 558, which defines it as no more than 30% of household income, there was no answer to that. There's no commitment to the definition of affordable housing, which is very dangerous. There's no commitment to more RGI beyond what was committed to in the original footprint, so the replacement units. So they said unless it's federal and provincial funding, and as soon as they indicated they want to build RGI, maybe there'll be funding coming from other levels of government, so nothing's committed to. I think it's also important to realize that there was a lot of people who wanted to access this meeting, did not have internet like us. So I'm hoping we will have more of a discussion. Okay.
Could somebody repeat that? We can't understand what you're saying, Waleed, in the room. If maybe somebody else is able to hear it better than we can, maybe they could repeat it for you.
Yeah, what I meant to basically say is right
No,
now.
it's hard. We
the city-
can't really understand.
Walid, just check your audio.
Check my audio.
Yeah.
Okay, one second. I'm reconnecting audio. 1 second. Okay, can you folks hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, hope I'm much more clearer. I can put something in the chat, but basically we have a bylaw right now that says affordable housing is based on income, not what the market rent is. And what it says is that it should be no more than 30% of household income. Okay, does everyone understand that point? Yes? Yes,
Hello?
everyone? Yeah, Michael, go ahead.
So I recently heard somebody saying that affordable housing could mean 50% of market rent, which is at least like a substantial reduction from market. So seems like there are multiple definitions out there. And when you say the city passed a bylaw, I mean the city can't pass a bylaw to define a word. They can only define the word in a certain context. So we'd have to know what the bylaw applies to, because there are so many different projects with affordable housing. Some of them, might not even be funded by the city.
Yeah, let me be very clear so there's no distraction, misunderstanding. We have a national housing strategy and it's federally funded. And that national housing strategy depends on policies that base income affordability affordability of housing based on income, not market prices. There's no bylaw or law provincially that defines affordable housing based on market. Okay, and the city of Toronto, we've chosen to pass a bylaw that was supported by the residents of the city. There's petitions, there was a big push to make sure that affordable housing is defined based on income. And right now, it's 30% of household income. There was a push by developers last year in November to shift it from an income-based model to a market-based model. We defeated them at the Ontario Land Tribunal. With the Regent Park Neighborhood Association working with so many groups across the city of Toronto through the coalition of equitable and inclusive development that made it very unfeasible for these developers to push forward with this appeal of this policy, which says again it's based on income. What was raised at the meeting, which is very dangerous, is that when it comes to affordable housing, they're not basing it on our definition, the city of Toronto's definition, the definition of what owns, of the organization that owns CCT, 100%. CCT is a subsidiary of the city of Toronto, okay? So that's very, very shocking. And that needs to be corrected before we move forward with approving a rezoning application that basically makes affordable housing impossible for those that desperately need it, those that are living on a basic income, or whether it's welfare or ESP. Very important for us to talk about that, my friends. And
Well,
I took
audio, I still can't. They're still blurred. Does everybody else find the same thing?
Can you hear me, my friends, or am I still blurred?
I was blurred. It was blurred. I didn't quite understand the distinction, and it's an important one. Say the last few sentences again.
Waleed, it's hard for us to hear you, what you're saying.
I'm saying is the distinction is based on income. It's not based on market, okay? Based on income. Ishmael, could you elaborate if you can? Because I can't be heard properly. Ishmael, do you mind explaining quickly? Or Miguel?
I can. The difference is based upon the definition the city has is that it's based on income, which is 30% of the household income. But we were told that they're basing affordability on 80% of market, which is different from 30% of income.
Quite different.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Miguel. You were referring to the rezoning meeting?
Yeah, I'm joining late.
Okay. So you joined that meeting, right? On that day, rezoning application meeting?
No, I did not attend.
Okay, yeah. We are actually discussing about that rezoning meeting. And Walid, would you like to? Yeah.
The rezoning, yes, I was at the rezoning meeting, yes.
Yeah. So if you'd like to share something about that meeting, you can do it. Yeah.
Well, Peter Zimmerman, I think he said, "Oh yes, Miguel, we know, we understand. It's something we are working on to improve, blah blah blah." And he also said that if you want to increase the number of RGI units, we should knock on the door of the federal government to see how they can assist in funding, so more units can be available in phases 4 and 5. I just want to say that I have a meeting with the office of Marcy Ian, our MP, who's been missing in action for a while, as you noticed. If anybody here wants to join me, I have a meeting next week. If you want to send me a request, a direct message, let me know. Maybe we can, come along and ask those questions to our MP Marcy Ian to see if increasing more RGIs with funding from the federal government. That's what we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Miguel, for sharing that. Do we have any other comments on thoughts on this rezoning application?
I just want to also say I would have expected at least 4 public meetings over the course of this rezoning application. If you just have one at the beginning and one at the end, you're not really involved in the process. It seems like the process happened in between when we weren't involved.
That's correct. And the process is still happening while we're not involved.
Thanks everyone for sharing your thoughts about this. And if you have something more to share, you can just send email to Joel or Walid. And if we don't have any other discussion on this topic, I can move to our next topic. So our next topic on the agenda is religious days. What reflection, especially related to community building, do you have on the religious celebrations of the past month? So past month, there was some religious activities, actually celebration happening. So I think we are just asking a general discussion about this.
So this is an opportunity, folks, to talk about the experiences during Ramadan, Passover, or you can't forget the long weekend, specifically where we celebrate Easter. So those are some, significant holidays that happened in between our meetings. So please share your thoughts about the learning. What do you think about the learning? What do you think about the experience?
Yes, Gail.
No learnings here for me in terms of what we're seeing here, but I'm concerned maybe with yeah. So we now are. I don't know how we handle this topic of religion, right? Not everyone is into religion, and I think this is community building, and if we're building community, it means that we need an equity lens around everything that we do. So, when we say religion, what else do we say as well? Because not everyone is in this realm of religion, right? The Charter of Rights speaks about freedom of religion, freedom of freedom or discrimination or no discrimination against a person based on their sexual orientation, based on gender, based on religion, based on, what did I mention? Gender, yes, gender. So I think those are important things to note. Very important things to note. That's where I sit.
Thank you, Gail. Dini, your hands up. You can say something.
Yeah, I had a very, very touching conversation at the launch, the community benefits agreement launch event that happened with one of the residents who was very upset over the fact that there's no attention given to the LGBTQ plus community here. And I raised this because, well, we're looking backwards. It'd be a good idea to be looking forward. And we're about to go into June, which is Pride Month. And I'm just wondering if there's any plans from community building in regards to acknowledgement and recognition of this very important time in our city.
So,
anyone want to speak to that? Any ideas of what we could do as the community building working group?
sorry, Walid? Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the silence is deafening.
So I think Dini brought forward a very important question for everyone to consider. For Pride, do we have anyone interested in taking it on? Because that's next month.
Yes, it will be on June 24th, 25th, I think. The parade will be on 25th.
So
Is
how
your
about we do-
organization doing anything, Tawhida?
Yes, our organization doing with TNC, you know, that with TNC we are doing something. And each year actually we do, last year, I think there was some poster making workshops and then we go to the parade. This year we also have something that we are planning right now.
Okay. Yeah, it would be good to get some of that out in the community. You very seldom see anything in this community.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, right, Dini, I spoke to the same member and I heard the same concern. I think it's important for people to start thinking about how do we create a space so that, you know, that celebration, you know, of equality. And I think it's important to like, push for rights that have not yet been attained. You know, there's still a lot of you know, transphobia. There's a lot of bigotry. There's a lot of other serious challenges that have been faced by the, you know, not the people living in our community. So it'd be great to know which organizations are doing what, and maybe what we can do as a community building working group is promote it, let people know about those events, so that there's opportunities for people to celebrate. Okay.
Well,
Yes, Michael.
so like this is a very small point, but I think you should also raise that at the evaluation committee, because like we were working on the survey, and there seemed to be some feeling that the question of sexual orientation was sort of covered under gender, and we didn't need a separate question for that. But I'm not sure if that's the case or not. So maybe we can raise that again at that meeting.
Thank you, Michael, for pointing out that. So I think that was the last written item in our agenda, but I feel that there is scope for other business if you'd like to include. And Michael had something that he want to share with us, right, Michael? At the beginning, we mentioned in the agenda.
Yes.
You can, yeah.
So the evaluation process for the working groups is going to be held in the form of a gathering that all the working groups can send people to, and will be where we'll discuss how each of the working groups will do their evaluation. And so it'll probably be 2 meetings. And the first meeting is on Monday at 6 o'clock. I think it's being booked at 306 Gerard. So people who have sort of ideas about how the working group can evaluate can come to that meeting. It's not just for the people who were like the paid leaders for this process, but it's also like for people to participate in. So if you want to have some ideas about how this particular working group can evaluate its work, then the meeting is on Monday. I think it starts at 5:30 on Monday. So I believe some notices have been sent out, but I just don't know if they reached as far as all the members of the working group. So if somebody who has a notice or a copy of that notice can verify whether it's been sent to the members, and if not, to do so.
It will be in-person meeting?
This is,
Yes.
yes, it's in person.
Oh, Mushida. Yes, Mushida.
Oh, sorry about it.
Share something, Mushida.
Oh, I'm part of that too. I just said yes. It's an in-person meeting.
Okay, folks, I just want to ask a simple question. Do you still want to continue with the reflection exercise? And we talked a lot about Pride Week, which is coming, Pride Month actually, that's happening next month. But we would love to hear from you folks if there was any experiences you wanted to share over the past month. It doesn't have to be religious, it could be spiritual, it could be agnostic.
I would share something. I thought it was, it's just quite a remarkable experience to see the Eid prayer happening out on the field. I just happened upon it, but actually when it was just ending. Just seeing so many people out together for a single, like a shared kind of activity is always very moving for me. And I think I'd also want to note that that there are very diverse sort of experiences of our community. There's different religious traditions, people, as Gail said, that don't have a religious tradition. There's this sense of marginalization of LGBTQ people as well. And I know that there are many different conversations happening in the community around this, and that I think it would be great to have more dialogue around these issues. Maybe the community building working group is a place to have dialogue. I'm not sure, but I just want to note that there's a lot of stuff that's being held by a lot of people in the community now, and there's a sense of marginalization that moves in many different directions. That people speak, and when they speak of their own experience, they speak of that sense of being marginalized. And I think it would be an interesting thing. I think it would be a great idea for us to mark Pride Month through the working group. If somebody would like to take a lead on that, that would be great. I think that's something that we could do.
Thanks, Joel, for sharing that with us. So any other reflection? Anyone would like to still reflect on this?
Here's one of the things that I will say. My mother is an extremely religious person. Let's put it that way. And for me, she's more than religious because she really practices, she actions what she says. She doesn't just pray for the sake of praying. She's not ritualistic at all. She's very, and I guess this is through all her years of experience, she is very actionable in her religious beliefs. She's the head of she's 87 years old and the head of a large organization called the Mothers Union. And many things that she has done in her life, and it's part of what propels me to volunteer. And she's aware of my own sexual orientation, my own beliefs, and we certainly had our struggles. But one thing that I can certainly say is that she always approaches everything from a place of love. And because I don't believe as you believe, because I don't live as you live, how do you show that person love? Because saying it is not what it is. Deciding you want to celebrate because somebody maybe called it out that there are people who are gay in this community and we should celebrate in some way is not necessarily the action that most of us are looking for. But I think what we are all looking for, whether you are of X religion or Y religion, or X persuasion or Y persuasion, you're all looking for someone to say, I respect who you are as a human being, and I can action that in how I interact with you. And it's up to all of us as individuals to dig deep and decide what that should be. Yeah, that's where I would leave that. Well, maybe I'll add this. The federal government apologized to the LGBTQ2S plus community because of the awful things that the federal government did to those human beings. There were people who wanted to have political appointments and pursue a political career that could not. They were people who would find out about their business, follow them home, and then expose it for everyone. And those people would either kill themselves, lose their jobs, or walk away from their jobs, right? So people were actually harmed in such deep ways by the own government of this country, the same way the Aboriginal people and the first people of this nation have been harmed by a government that says, oh yes, this is the right thing for you to do. So I always say, let's look within ourselves to figure out how we are behaving based on the words that we continue to use to say this is who we are, right? Because, we that are on the receiving end know that they're just words. And don't kid yourself that we don't know. We may smile and you may think they're buying into it, but we also know that they're just words. We are all human beings, and we know when we are loved, we know when we are cared for, and we know when we are respected. Anyways, I should stop preaching, as I always tell my mother.
The gentleman that I was speaking with told me that, I think we walk around with this idea that everything is fine, and it's not. What he told me was that when him and his partner walk down the street, people call him faggot and spit at him. This is not okay. It is not okay in this community. It is not safe for people in this community. One of the conversations we had was in regards to the fact that he said nobody does anything when they see it happen and they don't do anything. And I said, I shared with him that this was the same thing that was happening with the Islamophobia. Women, particularly in hijabs, were being discriminated against publicly, and people would do nothing. And we did some workshops around how to handle those incidents. So we have a community that doesn't seem to know how to handle homophobic incidents. And there is some work to be done in this neighborhood. No one should be frightened when they're walking down the street. No one should be name called or spit upon.
Thank you so much, Dini and Gail, for those insights. Definitely, actually, from this community building working group, we need to do something. We need to show our, respect and love to all human beings. So it's most welcome. Joel has mentioned if you would like to do something on next month, so we can have plan together. So Joel and Walid, if you would like to share something, because it's almost 8 o'clock.
Sure. Can you folks hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. What I loved about the past month was the diversity of our neighbors and how that actually is a source of our strength. Seeing
whether it was the month of Ramadan and people fasting, or Passover and been invited to dinner with a couple of my friends from the Jewish community, or being invited over to, for the, was it hunting the eggs, Easter bunny, right, for Easter. It was such amazing stuff. And also realizing a lot of people don't have those spaces to celebrate. Some people are homeless. Some people have so many challenges related to bigotry and other really, really like horrible factors, right? Poverty could also play a role into it. I just learned that there's so much strength in our community, but there's so much work that also needs to be done. And I felt that, throughout the months, I as a person became better. I try to learn from others. I try to grow as a person. And I hope that everyone will share the space to learn from each other as well.
Thank you, Walid. That was actually our last topics for today's meeting. I just would like to ask one question about the meeting for Sunday in the Park. I didn't receive any meeting invitation. I don't know when it was happening and when will be the next meeting. So just share those information with me, Walid. If we don't have any other comments or remarks or any other thing to share with us, should we conclude today's meeting?
Yeah, before we conclude, Tahira, I just want to say you did a phenomenal job facilitating our meeting today. Hope everyone else agrees. What do other people think? But I think you did a really good job. So thank you so much, Tahira, for stepping in and stepping up to be a facilitator for today.
Thank you everyone for actually accepting me. I know without any preparation, I didn't know lots about today's, agenda items. But thank you everyone for accepting me. And I think we can finish our meeting for today, and we'll meet our next meeting on next month. And by this time, we'll working on May 10th, report back event.
Well done.
Applause to Tahira.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please follow us on all our social media platforms, and for more information, please check out our website.